Hi, everybody. I've had an absolute blast recording your championship intros on audio and also on video. And for those of you that didn't know, the videos can be done special exactly the way you like them, because these are green screens and we can do them with a scene behind me. Do you want a fighting scene? Do you want a beach scene? Do you want a race car scene? Any scene you want, we can give it to you. It's your theme and my pleasure. Just write our offices and we will answer you with the exact fee involved and how it'll get done. So here we are, and now it's time, and it's your choice. Cheers! From the shores of Malibu where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China, and back to the streets of Abu Dhabi where the UFC is coming. We are live. It's Time Radio, the show where we talk about what you think about but may be afraid to voice. Don't worry, we'll voice it for you. We talk about it all. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, UFC, EBI, film, entertainment, you name it. I said EBI because we have a special guest, a friend of the show, a friend for a life, a friend for many years in the great sport of MMA, a master at what he does, a master at who he is, and a master at what he says. Eddie Bravo. Hi, Eddie. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Bruce?
I'm good, man. Driving the Rolls Royce to one of your 856 studios, or what?
Yep. You know me. I'm only in either Bentleys and Rolls Royces. I don't fuck with regular shit.
Yeah, of course. We know. It's high end for you, baby. It's all the way. Gold and gild. Hi, TJ. TJ's back with us.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, TJ? You home?
No. I'm in Las Vegas right now.
Oh, tournaments?
Yeah. My good buddy B-Mac, Brandon McCatherine, he commentates EBI with me. He's got his own show. It's a league concept. So over the next 5 weeks, he's got a show every Wednesday where 20 grapplers are a part of a team, and they basically grapple 3 times each night. And it's a pretty cool experience, Buff. It's different.
Interesting. Reminds me of the old days of the UFC when they fought 3 times a night.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. A little different, though. No fist flying. Any combat jiu-jitsu like Eddie's or what?
No, we got combat, though, coming up Sunday in Monterey.
Sunday,
Yep.
Eddie, Monterey, California? Or Monterey, Mexico?
EBI now with
Mexico.
combat jiu-jitsu.
Very cool. So Monterey, Mexico.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Mexico's getting a lot of business from EBI and UFC these days, that's for sure.
I love Mexico. We started going down there during, right after the pandemic. And Eddie, honestly, I don't want to toot your horn too much. I don't want to be such a kiss ass, but the jiu-jitsu scene in Mexico has blown up since you and Vic have spent time, putting combat jiu-jitsu down there and in EBI. And Mauricio Rios, man, that kid has broken out in such a big way after the last EBI.
Yeah, man. Like this next show in Monterey Sunday, live exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. It's basically we're doing something a little different. It's basically Mexico versus the world. Every opening match is going to be a Mexican versus we got Yuki Takahashi from Japan. He's a Japanese submission sensation. We got Isaac Cordova from the United States. He's going to go against a Mexican. Manny Vasquez, he's another 10th Planet guy going against a Mexican. We got Jimmy Flick, a former UFC fighter. He's going against a Mexican. So it's really Mexico versus the world this Sunday on Fight Pass.
Very cool. Maybe you shouldn't hold it in the United States. ICE might come by. I'm just kidding.
It's this.
Oh, no. In no way did I ever mean that racist. It was just, with everything going on these days. Just
Hey,
kidding.
I mean, after the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. thing, man, that was crazy.
Yeah. But, if those connections are true, who knows? It's crazy. Crazy stuff. Crazy world we're living in. Speaking of which, Eddie, when you do these shows in Mexico, I bet you get quite a crowd because the Latinos down there, they just love fighting. I mean, it's just so in their heart, so in their spirit.
Yeah, like TJ said, initially we started doing our shows in Mexico, because of the scamdemic, it was really hard to put a show on in the States. And during those times, there was still those ridiculous, retarded COVID restrictions. So we really didn't even focus on the crowd. We're just like, let's get content, film content, put it on, UFC Fight Pass, and not really focus on getting crowds there. But over the last couple of years, we've been really focusing on the attendance and the gate. Show is probably going to be our biggest show in Monterey. We got there's going to be probably anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people there. Monterey is just eating up jiu-jitsu, so we've been focusing on that in a particular way. Getting the best local fighters from around the venue in Monterey. We did that in Mexico City. We're focusing more now on actually putting in a good group of Mexicans on each card, not just one. Before we were just having like one Mexican representative. Now we're having like 8 Mexican representatives. So, like I said, this show is basically Mexico versus the world.
It's awesome. And just you, like I say, I'll say it again, everybody's a fight fan, pretty much no matter where you go. But in Mexico, they're just huge fight fans. It's like the UK, they just love their fighting. Everybody loves it. So
what's interesting about Mexico and their fight fans is obviously it's been a boxing heavy country, but I'm telling you, Bruce, the loudest crowd I ever heard at a fight ever was in Playa del Carmen when Andrew Tackett won Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. The Mexican fans, man, like they're very much open to jiu-jitsu. And Eddie, the way that Andrew lit up the Mexican contingent there, they're ready to just cheer for good fights, whether it be boxing or combat.
Yeah, initially they were, rooting for the Mexicans, but Andrew Tackett's about as wide as they come, and he was putting on such a great show that by the time we got to the finals, Andrew Tackett was going against a Mexican American, Alan Sanchez, and they were rooting louder for Andrew Tackett because he had up until the finals he lit it up. The finals was really close. It was decided in OT. Alan Sanchez and Andrew Tackett went to war, but before that, Andrew Tackett was just lighting everybody up.
Interesting. No, it's exciting stuff, Eddie. There's so much exciting stuff going on. Between EBA, UFC, all the grappling, everything. I just think we're in a whole new era, a whole new evolutionary process for our sports, no matter how you cut it.
Yeah, with the UFC stepping up, doing UFC BJJ, that's huge for the sport. It's not even on, it has nothing to do with Fight Pass, I don't think. I think it's just, they're just putting it on the UFC YouTube channel for free. So I don't know how Fight Pass is even involved in this anymore. It's like beyond Fight Pass. And once you start putting it on the UFC YouTube channel for free, that's really where it's going to explode.
Well, $60 million is a lot to put towards the promotion, and that's what Dana's done. So, kudos to Dana. He just keeps breaking roadblocks everywhere and making things happen. This Canelo Crawford fight coming up that he's the promoter on?
Yeah. I don't really follow boxing, but I heard about it.
Okay, well, it's one of the biggest boxing fights of the year, if not the biggest boxing fight in a long time. It's huge. And it'll be at the T-Mobile the same night that we're doing the UFC Fight Night show in San Antonio on September 13th. I just got a notice on the face value of the tickets being sold. Take a guess, 7th row floor, how much?
Ooh.
1,000.
Did you say 10,000?
Yeah.
You hit it right on the head.
Wow.
Face value.
Crazy.
When the scalpers get a hold of that, 7th row. That's what was offered to me in an email, being in a certain group for the face value, not the scalper value, directly from the sources.
They don't give you the discount buff?
I've never seen tickets discounted for UFC or other events. There's no such thing. The discount is to buy the ticket before the scalpers get it, before they raise it up 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That's your gift.
You're not getting any comp?
I'm not going to be in town anyway. If I was doing the show, I mean, there's always that possibility. But no, listen, they're out. They're out to make money. A lot of money being made on the show. A lot of money being spent. The boxers making a lot of money too. So whatever. Pretty soon, EBI 10,000, seventh row. What do you think, Eddie?
Yeah, amazing.
Well,
Totally.
let me ask you something off of that, Eddie, because fight sports and combat sports as a whole, they're bigger than ever. Do you ever see a fight night like that, like a big boxing show? Like I know ADCC has run T-Mobile, but do you ever foresee a night of jiu-jitsu being able to sell out a T-Mobile? And what sort of matchup would need to headline a show like that?
Kind of show there's multiple tournaments going on, or
Yeah,
just one.
I'm talking like a 10 fight card.
I think jiu-jitsu, the only way it can compete with the UFC is by doing things that the UFC can't do, because the UFC has a lot of stuff that grappling doesn't have. It has kickboxing, it has boxing. So grappling can have something that MMA doesn't have, and what blew MMA up with 16-man tournament. So it would have to be a 16-man tournament, to go against, to compete entertainment value wise with a UFC fight card, which has a bunch of single matches. You got to do a 16-man tournament, and you got to have combat jiu-jitsu. That's the most violent, fast-paced form of jiu-jitsu. So that's the only, I think, like if you had CJI and just made it the same competitors, but you just made it combat jiu-jitsu, I think that would just blow through the stratosphere.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you're on point there. I would love to see a combat event where you have like a Hamzat Shemaev in it. Could you imagine a Hamzat doing combat? I think that'd be great.
Yeah,
You
if
know
I
the
had a
kind of
billionaire,
money.
if I had a billionaire investor who believed in me and just trusted me, and I would get all the top grapplers and all the top UFC grapplers and put them in a 16-man super crazy tournament. I think with a big enough grand prize, like if we did like CJI, like $1 million grand prize, and we get all the top guys from the UFC, from ADCC, I think that could be massive.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about a guy that has a good amount of money, knows fight sports, and would be able to get UFC guys. I think his name's Dana. I think Dana might be the
I
guy.
think I think Dana's got his hands in a couple of honey pots that he just.
He's already in jiu-jitsu, Bruce. He's already in jiu-jitsu.
You
It's
can't
not that
divide
far of a
forces.
leap.
You can't divide forces. If he's going to put that kind of money, he's going to put it into the UFC or the Fight Pass, whatever the proper
Hey, that's
title is.
fine.
Yeah.
EBI's on
But
Fight Pass. We've already laid out all the pieces.
Well,
They're all right there.
here's the question. First off, if you know the kind of money Hamzat's getting for his personal appearances and stuff, Eddie, you've probably heard about it. It's huge. He's getting big money. So 16 million spread out. Eddie, are you going to be involved in any of that 16 million? EBI going to be involved in any of that?
I have no idea. We just keep doing our shows with the budget that they give us, and I don't know. But they could easily just add along with UFC BJJ, just have a UFC CJJ, just have just add palm strikes. It'll make it way better. Jiu-jitsu with strikes is way better than jiu-jitsu without strikes. I mean, it's not even debatable.
You know how I feel about that. It's exciting, the jiu-jitsu by itself for the trained eye, for our eyes, the untrained eye. But the combat jiu-jitsu is extremely exciting.
It
Extremely
just keeps
exciting.
it honest. It keeps
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu honest.
It keeps it very honest.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what also keeps us honest? Let's switch gears here for a second. We got to pay honor. We lost two major icons in the world of wrestling and the world of rock and roll. Ozzy Osbourne passed away this week. And Eddie, one thing a lot of people know about you, I know about you. Do you still do your music at all? Are you still into doing? Yeah.
music all the time. You got to listen to it. Go to Spotify, go to Apple Music. The band is called Hook Thieves, like robbers of hooks, Hook Thieves, and the album's called Jar of Lies. Not Jar of Flies like Alice in Chains, but this one's Jar of Lies. And the album cover is a tribute to Alice in Chains' Jar of Flies. But you can go on Spotify and Apple Music or even YouTube. You got to check it out.
I'll check it out. I will check it out. Not to take away from you, Eddie, but to go back to what we're saying. Congratulations, Eddie. I think it's great. But it's a shame, my sincere condolences and best wishes go out to the families of Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. Terry, as you call him if you know him. Ozzy Osbourne was in rough shape, dealing with, I think it was Parkinson's or whatever. Finally got him. He was only 76.
Yeah,
he passed.
Ozzy or Black Sabbath were the inventors of heavy metal. I know it's debatable, like who invented heavy metal, but no doubt Black Sabbath invented true heavy metal. And they were formed in their first album was 1970. So, that's when I was born. So, heavy metal has been a huge part of my life.
Yes.
It influenced me so much. I've been a fan of Black Sabbath, Ozzy. I even like Black Sabbath with Dio. That was amazing too. Love Ozzy's first two albums. They'll go down as two of the greatest albums in rock history, not just metal, but Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Those were insane. Randy Rhoads played guitar on both those albums. He passed in like 81, I think, or 80. He's a legend. Will always live on in the history of rock and roll. So now, Ozzy and Randy are gone, but they left a legacy that will never be forgotten. Those first two albums will always be considered two of the best rock and.
I remember.
What's your favorite Sabbath and favorite Ozzy song, Eddie?
You know what? I liked Ozzy more than Sabbath. I like Sabbath. Children of the Grave, Symptoms of the Universe, N.I.B. I love Sabbath. War Pigs, obviously. I like a lot of Dio Black Sabbath too, like Turn Up the Night and Heaven and Hell. But first two Ozzy albums, I think they were superior to Black Sabbath. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but man, when you listen to Over the Mountain, and when you listen to I Don't Know, and you listen to Diary of a Madman, Mr. Crowley, I mean, those songs, those albums are just from top to bottom, just perfection.
Couldn't have said it better. You're absolutely right. No question. Heaven and Hell is crazy. Yep, with you.
No More Tears. No More Tears, my favorite.
No More Tears. Yeah, that's a great one too. That's
that into the Jake after Randy Rhoads died, Jakey Lee took over. Brad Gillis took over briefly. I like Brad Gillis. They did the live album Speak of the Devil. But permanent guitarist after Randy Rhoads and Jakey Lee, he did Bark of the Moon, Ultimate Sin. I was not that into Bark of the Moon's a great song, great solo, but I was like getting into like Slayer at that point and Metallica, and I was getting heavier, and Ozzy was getting kind of a little lighter. And then Zakk Wylde got some great, No More Tears, that's a great song. I love Zakk Wylde, but nothing compares to Randy Rhoads and Ozzy together on those first two albums. Nothing can top that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep. Exactly. Well, Hulk Hogan, he passed away at 71 years old. He was having some rough goes. Let's face it, an icon. He entertained a lot of people. That, and again, sincere condolences and best wishes go out to the family of Hulk Hogan and Ozzy Osbourne as we continue to talk about this. But similar to the grappling world, Hulk was involved with Eric Bischoff, who was the head of the WCW fame when that was really huge. And on August 30th, they're starting their big wrestling event, and I think it's in Ohio, where they're having actual not entertainment, but real wrestling coming in, and we'll see how that does too. They plan on selling out.
That's another sign, I think, of kind of what the UFC has done overall for combat sports and individual combat sports. It's going to be interesting though to see how real, honest wrestling can pay or can play to the average combat sports fan because I think it is a little bit of an acquired taste and. With wrestling, I mean, you're not really looking for a submission. I hope it takes off, big because wrestling's the cornerstone of mixed martial arts. It's a very big part of jiu-jitsu. But I don't know if you're going to get the average fight fan to be all in on wrestling.
Well, I agree with that. It's a trained eye, but depending on the names they bring in, and they're bringing in some big names, they definitely have a budget for this. We'll see what happens. So, good luck to them. But anyway, Hulk Hogan, we'll see. I've met and known Hulk for a number of years because I worked with Michael back in the WCW days and had a chance to meet all the great wrestlers back then doing their thing. So, with that being said, let's say it one last time. Sincere condolences and best wishes go out to the family and friends of Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. Moving on to another thing. Eddie, have you ever had any serious injuries in your jiu-jitsu studios?
Like with me personally or with students?
Either way, students. So let's say you training a student. I'm going to bring up a story here you may be familiar with.
Injuries are part of the game. I've been injured. I've had back surgery. I had shoulder surgery, knee surgery. It's part of the game. You could play basketball and get hurt.
Absolutely, no question. With that, you can walk down the stairs and get hurt. Did you hear about the beginning jiu-jitsu student? He was training with the secondary black belt Francisco Inturralde. Do you know who he is by chance? Anyway, the student was a beginner white belt sparring with his teacher. The student was 30. The black belt, secondary black belt Francisco was 33. In 2018, they were rolling, and the student wound up, supposedly by the instructor, however it happened, crushing his cervical vertebrae, and he became a quadriplegic, right?
Oh, my God.
Very tragic. They just awarded him $56 million in settlement.
Yeah.
But again, it's horrible what happened. I don't see how he's going to collect that or where they come from unless there's insurance. But I'm sorry, it's so tragic a story, but it's, wow, $56 million.
So I don't want to be bad guy here, but don't you sign a waiver? Doesn't the waiver mean something?
I don't know. I don't know how they could have proved. Maybe they proved it malicious or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's the people get hurt. It was an accident. I'm aware of the case, and they just rolled. They just rolled, and guy's neck got caught. Is unfortunate. That those kind of injuries are super crazy rare, super rare.
I'm sure.
I mean, that's the first one I've ever heard of a guy getting paralyzed with doing jiu-jitsu. I've never heard of that. That's super rare, but I'm sure it was an accident. And you do sign,
not malicious.
You sign waivers, and it wasn't. I don't agree with that lawsuit at all. It's
know what? One thing,
you could get paralyzed, playing football. What are you going to do?
There's got to be more to it. There's got to be some sort of. But how do you prove it? I mean, at the end of the day, we always talk about combat sports. It's our main passion and love. But like, what you're doing. At the end of the day that it is inherently dangerous. But that is, like Eddie said, a crazy rare injury.
One thing about this that is always an issue when lawsuits sets a precedent. So then let's just hopefully it doesn't go out. But Eddie, one last question: as the owner of the fine, planet. What am I saying? 10th Planet. Pardon me, brain fart. 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. How many do you have again across the country?
Across the world, like over 200.
It's amazing. I'm so proud of you. God, my God, how well you've done with that. It's awesome, bringing so much skill and training and happiness to so many students. Congratulations, Eddie. That's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, sincerely. Did you guys ever see Final Destination, the movie?
Yeah.
Did you see the last one?
How many are there?
5, I think.
Yeah, I've definitely seen 1 and 2. I don't know if I've seen the latest iteration.
Well, the MRI machines, the magnetic machines.
Yeah.
Supposedly, if you have metal or something, it'll just bring it all into the machine. So in the last one, and not giving anything away about the movie, but giving a little bit away, a guy gets pulled into the machine, and he's like, his legs are out, his arms are out, and he gets pulled in and, broken in half. This just happened, guys. This actually happened.
Like for real?
Like last week, was it last week or the week before? A man was pulled into an MRI machine because he had a large metallic chain around his neck, right?
Okay.
He was 61 years old, and what happened is he was pulled into an MRI machine in Nassau, in Westbury, Nassau Open MRI, whatever, that's the name of the place, in Westbury, New York. He was wearing this large magnetic chain, and he went into the room when a scan was in progress, right? And it immediately threw him into the machine, right? Like that, okay? And he was in critical condition. He was declared dead the next day.
Oh, my God.
Literally just from a metal chain around his neck. That's why they make you take off all the metal and everything, and they ask you if you have any metal in your body or anything before you go into an MRI. That's how powerful that machine is.
That's crazy.
That crazy? That's like a total thing out of Final Destination. It's nuts. Very nuts.
So was he the one getting the scan, or did he just walk
No,
in
it
while
was
they were
his wife. If it's according to what it was, is that he was going in, he heard something and he walked into the room when the machine was on. Just like in the movie.
Geez.
Just like in the movie. Period.
Hey guys, I got to teach class. I just pulled up to my school. I'm going to have to let you go. Thank you for having me on. I love both you guys. And TJ, I'll see you in a couple days. It's going to be amazing.
Yes,
Mexico versus the world.
there he is, Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo. He's a one of a kind, isn't he? No conspiracies today.
Hey, we avoided it. I don't know. Maybe that's good. Maybe we won't get kicked off YouTube.
Yep. All right. Well, listen, UFC's coming up this weekend in Abu Dhabi. The UFC last week, let's just touch on that real quick or whatever. Hell of a show in Nashville. I mean, the Nashville show was great, but the New Orleans show last weekend, the pay-per-view, Holloway, Dustin Poirier, what a fight, what an ending, what an emotional ending with Dustin laying down the gloves in the octagon to his illustrious career. The back and forth between the two of them. Some people, would question the results of the contest, as happens all the time.
I don't think it matters, Bruce. I think it was a good fight. It was about Dustin, in his last foray. I understand if you want to make an argument that Dustin should have won. I won't disagree with you too much. It was
I'm
a
not
close
making an
fight,
argument. I'm not making an argument. I'm always made the best man win, but I can see what people say either way.
But I mean, there are very few times, Bruce, where I feel like the results don't matter. And that was a fight where I don't really think the result mattered. It was about two of the best, two future Hall of Famers going out and giving it their all, and that's exactly what they did.
Exactly. And Paulo Costa came. He had 4 losses.
Oh my God.
4 losses. Well, somebody said, Paul, start throwing, Paulo, get it out there, and he wouldn't stop. So
yeah, no, he looked better than he's ever had in his career against an incredibly tough guy in Kopylov. I hate to say it, Bruce. This is a sport where once you have a couple of bad performances, you seem to be dubbed on the backside of your career. I think the MMA community was ready to say that the better days of Paulo Costa was behind him, and then he goes out and puts on a show like that. Like, he's immediately back into, not necessarily like fight for the title next contention, but no one's going to scoff at Paulo being a co-main event or main event anytime soon.
Not at all. Great performance. Wasn't too happy with his post-fight interview, as I have a tendency to get. Thought Paulo being the nice guy, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, right?
Yeah.
But to come out with all the profanity and what he did for, Hamzat, was it Hamzat he was calling out?
I believe so. And also, too, remind me, correct me if I'm wrong, Paulo is the late Connie Buffer's one of your mother's favorite fighters.
Absolutely her favorite. And kudos to Paulo, as I've said before on the show. He came into LA one time and he knew my mom was a big fan of his, and he made it a point to ask me if he could come down and see her. And I will always be indebted to him for that.
That speaks to
speaks
his
for his character.
character.
And that's why I'm saying, his character and as nice as he is and stuff like that, and then just to come out with I'm going to say it for the fighters listening. Again, either don't listen to me, whatever. Like Dana said, it's free speech, do whatever. But remember, kids are watching, potential sponsors are watching, okay? Right? And to be extremely profane as he was, and also as another fighter that I like a lot too, and I mean with this all respect, Brendan Allen was a little over the top in his post-fight interview too, after such an amazing fight of the night, win over the tough Marvin Vettori. But think beyond your guns, guys. Remember, people are watching.
Yeah.
You're setting a character pace that would cause that six-figure deal to come your way next week, right?
You can
And
do it
more, and
without.
more, and more. Again, I get back to the role model. I know people are going to say they're going to let
Yeah.
me, but screw off, Buff. What are you talking about? Whatever. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm old school, maybe whatever, but that's who I am. Period.
I mean, Bruce, to your credit, you can do it without making it so that the post-fight interviews, still usable on an ESPN. You know what I mean? When you cross
That's the
that
other thing. You're on
line,
ESPN. You're on ESPN,
yeah,
right? Much like you're
yeah,
either on the pay-per-view
yep.
or on ESPN. You're on ESPN, okay? Disney owned. But in the height of battle, coming out of the height of battle with everything going on in a fighter's head, because people out there do or do not have a fighter's mentality. Nobody can understand what a fighter goes through at the end of a fight, except for the fighter, or if you've been in a real fight of competition of this level yourself. So I appreciate that. I understand that, but just think ahead of your guns a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Am I off,
I'm
TJ?
with you, Buff. I agree. No, no,
Okay.
I agree. I mean, you know, I understand the sport is as real as it gets, and there are emotions that run, and you want to be
God, yeah.
authentic, but but again, find a way to do it where it's still able to be digested by that 14-year-old kid at home.
Absolutely. And like you said, and thank you for saying that, I could build the hype for a fight and not say one, you know.
Right, of course, and that's the real sort of sign of being a genuine, intriguing athlete. Because I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I know those words. I mean, you say those words very rarely, but when you do say those words, Buff, I
You
think
mean
it
it.
holds more weight because when you do say it, it conveys the message like, guys, this is a really big sort of situation that we're talking about here. I I don't want to call it low hanging fruit, but you get a reaction that in pro wrestling they call it a cheap pop. I feel like when you go a little more blue, sometimes you're maybe not working as hard as you could to get the same sort of reaction.
Exactly. I'll give you an example. In my world, all the cameos and all the videos and audios I do, the ones that are ordered through brucebuffer.com or on Cameo, whatever. Sometimes people put in there, say this, say that, say that.
Right, right.
And my officer right back, sorry, Mr. Buffer won't say that, but he'll make it just as exciting for you. And then I twist it around. I replace the words, and the feedback I get is that was amazing, that was amazing, that was
Well,
this.
Buff, it's better than if you did what they probably wrote, to be honest with you.
Well, I try to make it as exciting as I can for them, and luckily it works. So, okay, enough said there. Point made. Okay, that was the fight last week in New Orleans. The fans were 17 plus
Well,
thousand, sold out,
l-
exciting, the whole
l-
bit.
let me ask you this, Buff, because it is always a narrative when we get someone, laying down the gloves at the octagon. Will it stick? I mean, Dustin is very much a fighter at his heart. Sometimes these guys, they lose a bit of their identity when they're not preparing for a fight. Is it really the final time we see Dustin?
I believe it will be, personally. But I also
Yeah,
know, too, as you do, that this cuts a lot of family ties, okay?
for sure.
So,
For sure. And there's plenty of fights still that people would pay to see Dustin Poirier in.
well, number 6 contender, the whole bit. But my gut tells me the way it was, the way he handled it at the end, the emotional input, the way the UFC honored him. I even went back in the octagon and took a video of him laying his gloves, which when I put it out on social media, I think on my TikTok account, it's gotten like 1.5 million views in like
Yeah.
5 days.
But I mean, I hate to say
People
it,
are really into
that
Dustin Poirier.
but I hate to say, but that's a sign of maybe why Dustin would be, lured to come back. I hope it sticks. My belief is, if you ever go into a fight and it's being sold as your final fight, it should be your final fight. If you're really contemplating that, your heart is telling you everything you need to know about your future, and it's go out there, do it one more time, and ride off into the sunset with class.
Yes, of course. We know how it happens, and if he comes out of retirement, if it's going to happen anywhere, it'll happen where everybody else wants to fight, which is the White House show, come July 4th. So we'll see. And Dana
Man,
White, I was with John Jones at the ESPYs, and John told me he would love to fight on the card and all that. As we all know, he's made that public. And of course, Dana went public too. He goes, you just can't rely. If I set this card, it's going to be the biggest card ever. I got to make sure everybody in so many words I put on this card is going to fight on this card and not change their minds at the last minute. So we'll see how that plays out.
let me give you a buy or sell. You can either buy this statement as fact or sell it as you're not confident in it happening. But Conor McGregor will fight Michael Chandler at the White House. Buy or sell?
A buy meaning agree or sell meaning not?
Correct. So, I'm kind of with you. I have no reason to believe that it would actually come to fruition. Unfortunately, just knowing what we've sort of experienced already with this fight getting canceled and delayed. But man, I can't think of a better fight for that card.
It happens. Buy. So, yeah, in theory, anything's possible. But again, you're dealing with Connor too. It's sort of the same way. It's just, you just don't know.
Right.
You just don't
Well,
know.
I just think, unfortunately, we talked about this with Chris Curtis last week. I mean, we have a year for Connor to either get ready and be firing all cylinders or, unfortunately, continue to kind of get in the way of himself. And, recent trends suggest that Connor can't get out of his own way, unfortunately.
Right. Right.
But I hope so. I mean, I'll tell you, talking buy or sell, if that fight is on that card, a lot of people are going to buy that card.
It's an historic card. TMZ stopped me in the airport. They asked about me and, said, does it have to do anything, with politics and stuff like that? And, again, it's a fight game. It's a show for entertainment. It's on the
Right.
grounds of our headquarters of the United States. It's an honor for anybody to be fighting on those grounds. And that's the way I look at it. It happens. It's an honor to have the show. And definitely all eyes will be on it, not just in the United States, but worldwide, because it'd be a monumental event that is happening on the White House grounds.
Right. I understand politics and all that stuff, but just UFC is such a part of Americana. Take all the politics BS and throw it to the side. It would just be a huge night for the sport as a whole to take place at the White House.
Entertainment, right. Entertainment such as this, a film, whatever, it's a form of escapism for us to get away from the reality of life and to get into pleasure,
Yeah. Yep.
and just have a great night of entertainment. So we'll see. I mean, there's no reason. Everybody's going to want to fight on the card. You've heard of teams, sports teams, that say, well, I don't want to go to the White House for whatever reason. That's not going to be the case here. Every fighter's going to want to fight on the card.
100%. I mean, it'll be once in a lifetime sort of event.
Exactly. I am going to predict probably less than 200 people attending with all the security checks, but who knows?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, how many Secret Service would have to be there? Crazy.
It's crazy, as big as it is. Well, let's look forward to it. It's supposed to happen. Let's forward to it happening. Right now, we've got the UFC in Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi happening this Saturday. For those of you who listened to the show before or after, but you got Robert Whitaker coming back with a brand new set of teeth, courtesy of Uncle Dana. Looking great, says his teeth are better than ever, against Renier de Ritter, Peter Yan and Marcus McGee. Shara Magomedov, who's obviously not fighting in the States, but he's always fighting out of the States and always fun to watch, coming off a loss. And we'll see how he does. His fight against Marc-Andre Barrios. And Nikita Krylov. And it's a good type. Bryce Mitchell's on the card against Said Nurmagomedov. Randy Hebus, Tabitha Ritchie, Davey Grant. Good solid card. I will not be there. Joe Martinez will have the realms. I'll be back in Abu Dhabi in October. But good, exciting card. Enjoy it. For sure. Now, let me tell you something. When I open up the new It's Time Sports Card and Esports Center I announced last week, everybody pay attention. Follow me on Instagram, @Bruce Buffer UFC. And also, you can follow my It's Time sports card shop on Instagram too. But we're opening up this 8,000 square foot center where you can get all the Fanatic cards as soon as they come out. You can get all the Pokemon cards. We're going to have watch parties for UFC. We're going to have esports there, streamers, ripping. It's a huge, huge center. So this will be launching in October. I'm just tickling you right now, but get ready for this. There's no sports card shop, comic book shop, video game shop that's going to be like this when it's all combined into one.
Yeah. We got to do the show from there, Buff. When it finally opens, let's do the show from there.
We will have a podcast studio in the show, in the center. There's a podcast studio that's going to be built in the center, and we can definitely.
Well, if you need a guy to manage it, I know one.
Okay, we'll talk about that step by step. We're putting it all together right now. We just broke ground, and everything's being put up. That's great. Everything's in construction. It's really, really cool.
I'm super excited for it. And, combat sports and the video game community, they go hand in hand. The fan base of both incredibly passionate. And, this is a conversation we can have off the air, but I think there's a lot of possibilities for a little fun little podcast space there.
It's set. It's hit. The room is being built.
Awesome.
That's it. I guarantee it. Okay. All right. There's a lot to talk about, but I think we've covered a lot of space today. TJ, go ahead. Anything else happening in the world of TJ DeSantis?
Yeah, no, I'm all in on calling fights lately. So I'll be in Monterey. You can watch it. EBI going down. EBI 24 in Monterey, Mexico, as Eddie mentioned, live and exclusive on UFC Fight Pass. And then I turn it back around and head back to Vegas next Wednesday. I'm in Vegas every Wednesday for 5 weeks, Buff. I've driven to Vegas a few times, and it sounds good on paper, and then you get an hour and a half into that drive, and you go, "Oh man, I should have took the plane."
Why don't you take a plane?
It's a lower budget show. We're doing big things, but a lot of the money with the show goes to the athletes, which is really important in jiu-jitsu these days. I'm helping my buddy B-Max save a little bit of money, and I don't mind being in the car. I got a Tesla; it drives itself. But yeah, I might be getting on the plane the remaining 4 weeks, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Well, enjoy the drive, and as my beautiful, wonderful little mama always said to me, make that money.
Yeah, exactly. I drove this week though. I'm really excited tonight. It's a new moon, meaning the moon is the darkest it really can be, and it's below the horizon most of the time. But I'm meeting my wife and son in Death Valley tonight because it's the darkest night of the summer, and in Death Valley, the Milky Way galaxy, which we are in, is very visible. Apparently, the Milky Way is so bright in Death Valley that you can see your shadow. So I'm excited. I'll share some photos with you. I'm very excited to take my son out stargazing tonight.
I heard about that. That's very, very cool. Very cool. Well, have a great time with your son and your family.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
Hopefully no flying saucers stop by and pick us up.
No, I think that'd be great. Enjoy the experience. By the way, I forgot to say on that Final Destination story, the chaining out around his neck.
Yeah.
Weighed 20 pounds.
What are you doing wearing that heavy of a chain? That's crazy.
It's okay. He said it had a
large lock. To each their own. You got a style, I guess. That's fine. But 20, I couldn't be walking around with 20 pounds of metal around my neck.
I was wondering what kind of necklace would go into that, or chain. But anyway, that explains it without going into any more about that.
Well, it sounds like that chain is functional to like tow something. That's crazy.
It had a lock on it for weight training, he said.
All right.
Whatever that means. Who knows? All right, TJ. Everybody enjoy the show, the UFC in Abu Dhabi this weekend. I will see you in Las Vegas for the Apex show next week. And then after that, it is on to 2 weeks later, Chicago for the big show in Chicago, which is going to be a big show.
Absolutely.
Yep. The summer's going by, right? July 24th, as we tape this show today, it's hopping by quick. All right, everybody.
I hate it. I hate it. I feel like now that I have a son again, Buff, the summers are too short.
Enjoy it. Cherish it. Wake up every day, put your feet on the ground, and be happy. Name of the game.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, TJ, always great as always. Fun to have Eddie on the show. Everybody set your goals, write them down, so when you step on that yellow brick road to your future, you perform at your best, you be your best, and that means you're winning. And that's what we're all about on It's Time Radio, is winning, being positive, be a role model to your sphere of influence, and be the best you can be in this world, because we need it. We need all of us to stand tall. Cheers, everybody. Buffer out.